lets everybody off the hook. That lets everybody off the hook. Oh, these cowardly senators who couldn't face up to what the president did and what was at stake for our country are now going to have a chance to give a little slap on the wrist. We censure people for using stationery for the wrong purpose. We don't censure people for inciting insurrection that kills people in the Capitol.
Evening. Happy belated Valentine's Day. So, there's a list of people. Unfortunately, and I apologize, I don't know all the names, but that come to mind is Harriet Tubbs, right? The other one that did the bus, Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. There's a misunderstanding with MLK, Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. Everybody believes that these people were Democrats. They were not Democrats. They were leading the Black Party, or the Black people, back to the Conservative Party. That's why they were killed. But when we think of all of these people, white, black, Asian, that all stood for equal rights. They didn't stand for supremacy. They didn't stand for anybody to be better than another. They stood for everybody to be shoulder to shoulder equal. And in doing so, they created a movement that should never be forgotten, and it should have never stopped. But what happens is, like, the narrative gets stolen, and the narrative with these men were stolen. They were assassinated way before they should have been, maybe because they trusted the wrong people or they did the wrong things. I don't know. I would be wrong to assume. But like Rosa Parks, right? She was on the bus. She sat in the front of the bus. She didn't sit in the front of the bus because she wanted to be better than everybody else. She sat in the front of the bus because she wanted to be the same as everybody else. And she should have been. There's nobody better. No one race is better than another race. There's no one person better than another person. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter, where you live. None of that makes any difference. We're all the same. But I see something disturbing that's happening, and I don't know if other people are seeing it. See, the Democrats are leading the Black Party back to segregation. How are they doing this? Well, the Black Miss America pageant, the black entertainment, they have control of all of these things. So instead of having everybody be the same, they start trying to push it. So, this is for them. This is for them. Well, isn't that segregation? Isn't it segregation when you have one group of people that are doing one thing and another group of people that are not allowed to participate in that thing? Isn't that segregation? So why are people willingly saying, "Oh yeah, that's a cool idea. Let's go. Let's do this. This is great." And you've got all these entertainers, and that's the shame. Entertainers and sports figures that are supposed to be for everybody. They're supposed to be heroes and all of that. To me, they're losers, because they are committing an atrocity, a sin against what these other great people did. I mean, think about it. Think about what Martin Luther King did in a time when you did have a lot of racism. But who was the wing of the Democrats that did all of the violence? We know who they were. The dudes that burned crosses and wore sheets. Hate is what they had, because hate is created through misunderstanding and fear. If you're afraid of something, you're going to hate it. It's like, back in the early days, in the 1800s, it was okay to go out and hunt Indians. We were no more valued than a coyote. So you could go out and kill an Indian and it would be no big deal. But if an Indian killed a white person, oh my God, hang them high, make an example out of them. And that's fact. You can look that up. That's part of history that's not been changed to the point that you can't find it. But they're changing history all the time. We don't even know what a true history is. So when we think about what's truly going on, my black brothers and sisters, they should stand shoulder to shoulder with me. They shouldn't look at me as being less than them. I don't look at myself as being more than them. I don't look at myself as being more than anyone. Do you? You know, they want to say, oh, hate is everywhere and there's this systematic racism. Well, maybe in the justice system, but who runs the justice system? Oh, yeah, the Democrats. So, who's responsible for the systematic racism? It's not you and me. It's not any one of us. It's the people on the Hill, Capitol Hill. It's the people that are making the law. Okay? So why are we excited or allowing people to walk back into a time that was not very good? I mean, what happens next? Oh, you have black-owned restaurants that only blacks can go to. Wait a minute. Look in the 60s. Go back to the 50s. My uncle was a truck driver. He drove, I don't know if I can say, he drove truck for, I think it was Navajo or somebody like that. And he was in the 50s and 60s. There was a young black man that wanted to be a truck driver, and nobody would take him as a trainee on the truck. But my uncle said, hey, why not? And he ran team with this man for years and years. I know this story not because my uncle told me, but because the black man that I ran into that trained me years later was that black man. He asked me, you know, how about my family, and I told him my Uncle Jack was a truck driver, and he said, Uncle, and he knew the name. He knew his name, he knew the company, and he's the one that told me the story. So where was the racism there? The racism there was from the other people because they were too afraid to stand up. They were too afraid to say something or do something that might make them look worse. Why are we going to allow the Democrats and Hollywood to reverse what, 60 to 2000, 50 years worth of gains to create segregation again? Why are we going to do this? There should be no one that is excited about this. There should be no one that wants to take apart what Malcolm X stood for. And the history that we get is he was a guerrilla, and he was angry, and he was, this and that. And Martin Luther King, he was a great guy, and he did all of these great things, and he did. And he should be continued to be hailed as the hero that he was. But you get people that get tied up in the narrative. Mostly a lot of younger kids and younger people. I know a lot of people that are my age are looking at it saying, what the hell are you doing? But I've seen it, the whole narrative, the whole story of why are we doing this is it's just really stupid. No one should be excited about it. And I guess the whole point that I have, or that I'm trying to make, is like Joe Biden just sold us back to China. He said China's eating our lunch. And one of my other videos shows that one there. It's called Elephant in the Room. And you can watch that one. I'm not going to post it again. YouTube didn't take it down yet, so I'm not going to push my luck. And so he just sold everything back because China's eating our lunch and they have a great Green Deal and we're going to be part of that new Green Deal with China, blah, blah, blah. But if you paid attention to Nancy Pelosi when she was mad because they didn't do the impeachment, she said a key word. And remember, I said words are very important. What did she say? She said President Trump. She said the president. And she was referring to Trump. She called him the president. So that should tell you some things right there. A lot of good things are happening. We just don't always see it. We as a people have got to stand up. We as a people should not support segregation of any race, religion, any of that. There's no segregation. It is okay whoever you worship. If you worship Jehovah or grandfather, God, it doesn't matter. Buddha or Islam. I mean, it's your right, man. Why should we segregate? Why should we allow it? We're the ones that have to allow it. Remember that. I just ask you to think about the achievements, the accomplishments that have been made for decades. I mean, 7 agreements of peace in the Middle East. Trump did it in 4 years. These other cats are trying to undo it. There's great books out. You can read the books. I don't know that I trust the books. I know that what Dr. Martin Luther King did should never be undone. I know that what Malcolm X was trying to achieve should never be undone. And I refuse to allow or support any kind of things like blam, the Antifa guys. I don't support none of that. That's all hate and fear. I don't support any one group having its own movies. Don't support it because it's segregation. And we shouldn't, as a people, allow all of the work that those people did to be undone just because a bunch of greedy, scared politicians want to change the world to suit them. So, that being said, I love you guys all, and I hope that you can see my point. I hope I haven't offended anyone. If I did, sorry. But that is the way it is. Grow a skin, get a little tougher. If words hurt, maybe you should look at yourself, Maybe you should look at your own self. If somebody can say a word that'll make you break down, you can call me a wagon burner. We jokingly call each other that. And there's other terms. Apple. They're just words. Apple is red skin, white inside, red outside. But an apple is a fruit that you eat. So don't allow any words to hurt you. Words are words. That being all, I wanted you to pay attention and don't support the segregation of any race, of any religion. I love you all. Have a great evening. Peace.